Welcome everybody to another episode of Beyond Haunted Vermont, where we talk about things outside of the Green Mountains. And if you have anything that is outside of the Green Mountains or within the Green Mountains, please reach out. We would love to hear from you. Next up on the list, though, for Beyond Haunted Vermont is a local filmmaker out of Central Illinois who goes by Joe Tury and has his own company basically by the name Redroom Creative Media. And without further ado, Joe, welcome aboard.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Honor is all mine, man. And I must say, to kind of go back a little bit, I'm trying to remember exactly how I found you, per se. I'm trying to remember that much. I just know when I did first find you, you had a Kickstarter for the Hanging of Elizabeth Reed for a Kickstarter. And I know that because I backed it, obviously, but I just don't remember the initial way of finding you. I just don't know if it was recommended somewhere or what, but I stumbled across you. For all I know, maybe Kickstarter suggested it to me. But yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself, of like kind of how you kind of step foot into this, this weird realm that we have to wanting to, do your Redroom Creative Media.
Yeah, so I've been a lifelong fan of the world of the weird, of course, like most people. I never was really into filmmaking per se. I just always been a creative in one way or another, from learning to play guitar, messing with graphics and recording audio and just a bunch of things like that, getting into photography, and of course growing up with different movies, playing Dungeons and Dragons, just that whole world of the visuals with Dungeons and Dragons and the stories and all the cool movies we had when we were kids in the 70s and 80s, growing up. And then eventually, as an adult, went back to college, got a degree in graphic design, got a killer job in a marketing, not company, but I worked in marketing at a college. And then I was doing photography there, got into videography there. That's how I learned how to do video, was at my job. And I had to interview a lot of people, students, different community members, things like that. So that's really where my background with videography is. And then, of course, I had a long commute to work, so I always had to listen to different podcasts. So, eventually picked up on like Small Town Monsters is one of the ones I always used to listen to, and of course they're the biggest independent film company in the world of the weird, at least, and just inspired by them, because Seth Breedlove started off pretty much as a solo videographer at first, right? So I kind of followed in that footsteps a little bit, and thought, man, I always wanted to do video. When I got into photography, I'm like, but I never knew where I would, what did I have an interest in that I would want to be a filmmaker. And I thought, well, why not combine my passion for the world of the weird like other people have? And that's kind of how I got into, this, whatever subject matter, it extends. I guess I put it into high strangeness nowadays because I like the big three. I like Bigfoot, other cryptids, ufology, what's it called? Spectrology, specter. That's what Zelia Edgar referred to it as. Basically ghost phenomenon.
Paranormal, not paralogy.
I think she referred to it as spectrology or something like that. Whatever it was a cool word. But yeah,
nice. Yeah. So going back though, I like I was saying, I had another person that I knew that was in Illinois, so I reached out to them and I was just like, hey, yeah, this person doing this Elizabeth Reed, do you know about this too? And they're like, oh yeah, blah blah blah. So they like showed me like their images and videos that they had taken when they went to visit the site and this and that, and then basically I was just waiting for the Kickstarter to come to my address so I could watch it and stuff like that because I love ghost stories in other places, not just inside my own state. But like,
Yeah,
it's always cool to hear what others are out there, especially like the one where it's almost similar in each state, and you don't know why, but it's always like the same thing. Like here, we have like a what do they call it? Like a crybaby bridge.
Crybaby Bridge. Yeah, that's the most famous one that I can think of. That's in probably every state has that. Yeah, you're right. Why?
Yeah,
But yeah,
exactly why. And
yeah,
it's usually, I mean, as far as I have heard, usually it's about like this almost coincide with almost the stories almost identical. Maybe there
yeah.
might be some additions, I guess, for lack of
Right.
wording, but otherwise, man, it's pretty much right there, right on the nail of the head, just the same.
Right, yeah, absolutely. And that's funny you said that because there was a Crybaby Bridge by the Elizabeth Reed gravesite. You know, like there's a road next to and there's a bridge there, Crybaby Bridge. So it's kind of unusual, not unusual that you come across it, unusual it's everywhere. I mean, there's multiple cases like that in Illinois itself, you know?
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Um, it's I don't know if this would be considered a I wouldn't know if this is considered a crybaby bridge, but I think I was told something involving like oh man, what do they call it? Like a ghost cannonball bridge, maybe? Is that what I'm
Oh,
thinking
so
of?
the Wabash, so that's the Wabash Cannonball Bridge, Wabash Bridge, and so that's by it's on the border of Illinois and Indiana,
Oh
and
wow.
yeah, so there's a story there about a floating head. It's also called Purple Head Bridge because they see a floating American Native American head. I think it's supposed to be an Indian chief, and I think it glows purple. And there's all kinds of versions of that there too. Like his head he was decapitated, and now the head's floating around trying to find the body, type of thing. It's a pretty cool bridge, nonetheless. It's like I think it's an old railroad bridge that they turned into like they put planks on, and it's only like only
Yep.
one car can go over it either way. Yeah, I've never been on it, but it's super cool looking. Yeah, but it's funny. There's like this purple head that's supposed to float in the middle of the bridge at midnight. It's always at midnight or the witching hour
Yep.
or something.
And I think he mentioned something like you had to honk 3 times, kind of like your
Right.
typical
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah.
your typical instructions,
Right,
especially at crybaby bridges. You're supposed to
right.
honk to see whoever show up or whatever. Yeah,
It's always 3 times. You got to do it 3 times.
yeah. I think it's because it how. Oh man, I forgot the exact reason why, but it like it. I don't want to say provokes, but it's like that's the number that you need to open the realm or something like that. I can't
Right, right,
remember.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so anyway, I found you that way, and I liked your stuff then even, and then I think within the same year of that, which I have it right here, it was like 2020 when you did the Hanging Elizabeth Reed, I believe, or at
Yeah.
least the Kickstarter, and then later on that year, you actually did another one, the creature from Muddy Banks,
Creature from Big Muddy, which is
Big Muddy.
Bigfoot story from Illinois and Murfreesboro. It was a big story in the 70s. Lauren Coleman investigated it. A bunch of people from around the country, and even like as far as Russia came and investigated it. It's just probably Illinois' biggest Bigfoot legend, and that town has totally embraced it now. It's really cool. It's almost like I kind of liken it to what the beginning of the Mothman Festival must have been like. Like building a statue. That's what Murfreesboro done. They have a statue. The mayor embraces it. They have a festival every year now. So
People
I kind of,
propose right by the statue, not to
yeah,
interrupt you.
yeah.
Oh my god, dude, it's awesome.
No, it's like I love having that in Illinois. You never, like, growing up, you never. I heard stories, but like it's really prevalent nowadays with the media and social media that you can hear all the cool legends from around your state. That's I think we live in a cool time as far as that is concerned.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, but then there's the downsides and upsides, like with everything else, anyway. So I mean, um, another thing I just want to mention too, just because of as you were kind of saying, like you're kind of going everywhere. But as far as I'm aware, anyway, one of your last campaign was like the Grand Tower, UFOs and other high strangeness, which is that phrase that you were talking about, like the high strangeness of the weird and stuff.
Yeah.
But that was one I didn't really quite uh, visit with yours. So for somebody like me that sort of knows your work but hasn't seen this Grand Tower one, what's the little story behind that one?
So this is another case from 1973, which, like, the 70s was the decade of high strangeness,
Mm-hmm.
um, especially around the early 70s. So 73, this is another small town in Illinois, southern Illinois. Like, southern Illinois is the paranormal hotspot of the state, the whole southern Illinois. But so there was a UFO seen over a power plant down there. There's a whole story about like the Air Force chasing it away. It was around the time of the Piedmont UFO sightings, where there was like 500 UFOs were seen, and Piedmont's not like very far from Grand Tower, but like there's all kinds of cool legends at Grand Tower. Is like a village or small town, whatever you want to call it, along the river Mississippi, and there's stories about ghosts, pirates, uh, UFOs, cryptids, ghost lights, anomalous sounds, and just all kinds of crazy stuff. Native American spirits. There's a lot of like mounds down there, like burial mounds along the Mississippi River in Illinois and Missouri on the other side, and so there's a lot of cool legends about that. It's just uh, it's along the 37 parallel. If people know what that is. It's just a really cool area. Fun to visit, but still has that like creepy vibe to it. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's a fun documentary. Before that, between that and Grant and Creature, I did another one called Paranormal Prairie, which is a series of paranormal stories throughout Illinois. Um, so
Oh,
that's
very
another,
nice.
yeah. So that's another fun one. That I did a little work with Troy Taylor with that one. There's some cool legends and lore throughout Illinois. Chad Lewis was also in that one. We have a Devil's Curve, which I think a Devil's Curve is another kind of like cry baby bridge type of situation where you have a curve in the back road and there's legends of people running off of it, and a woman appearing in the road, things like that. So just it. None of my documentaries are gory or jump scares or anything like that, but I kind of like to find historical stories that have a little bit of meat behind them, and try to find out what are the facts to it, not trying to sway anybody's attention one way or another, but just trying to get them to come up with their own conclusions, what happened or what's this about. Maybe get people interested enough to go visit these places,
Right. Yeah, kind of like a open-minded thing where
Yeah.
like you were just saying, like go and visit, and if they have something happen, then awesome. If not, well,
Right.
I mean that usually means to just go back at a later date.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, and and I'm saying that as because I used to do some investigations myself, and one of
Yeah.
the things that I used to do, or here, I should say, is like I would visit this place, and this person that is one of those like know-it-alls on the internet web. They're like, "Oh, that place isn't haunted," blah blah blah, blah blah blah, and it's like, okay, well, I've been here for the example, like I've been to a place like 6 times, and out of the 6 times that I've been there, I would say two things have been weird about it out of the 6 times. So
Right. And that's how it is. You're not uh, you're 100% correct. Just a lot of places have like a long-term research. You're not going to find something every time. You have to like have a long-term research, whether that means multiple visits or camping out there or something where you have to observe and experience, and maybe the place isn't really haunted, or maybe it doesn't have activity or whatever, but you can't judge it on one visit. I mean, I think that's a big a misconception about a lot of these stories, that well, it's a constant thing. It's not like you're going into like a JC's haunted house or something, and there's guys doing jump scares. I mean, uh,
yeah,
it's just
chasing you with a chainsaw or something. Yeah,
not chasing you with the chainsaw. The world of the weird operates on its own time, not your time.
that's right. That's right. It's not like you were saying. A good example would also be like you're going into a haunted house and you're expecting to get scared. Whereas, like you just said, if it works
Yeah.
on its own time, then you don't know when it will strike, I guess.
Right. Yeah. I would love to be there when it does, maybe, but
Maybe. Nice. Well, uh, so Joe, I guess talk to me about it. So, like, what do you do with your documentaries? I know you're a little bit like you're looking for witnesses and stuff like that. Like you were kind of describing with all these, like, getting to the idea of your job, going out to the field to interview. So that also gave you that experience of how to conduct interviews. And then, like, I guess from there, are you finding local researchers, investigators to kind of go out with them to see, to like a specific area to see what happens? Like, how are you doing that when it comes to the field?
Yeah, so I mean, it varies from documentary to documentary. I like to find what I call experts, and the expert could be, um, for example, someone who is familiar with the stories of the area. Like in my last documentary, I worked with my good friend Michael Huntington, who is an expert on, although he's an expert, I think, on just history of different phenomena. And I think he's a high expert when it comes to ufology. So I needed someone there who understands the UFO phenomenon, who also knows the history of the area. So I rely on people like that to help guide me. I'm fine with like finding people that are uh, eyewitnesses, things like that. But he also has to have like the background of the area and someone knowledgeable enough to like point you in the right directions. To, like with Michael, I would say, hey, I heard this, whatever that is, and he would either confirm or tell me no, that turned out to be fake or something like that. Just having someone knowledgeable of whatever the subject is at the time. Like I also had, like in Big Muddy, I had a friend who, well, he's a friend now, but he's a biologist. So I would interview a biologist on the probability of a cryptid creature living in the area. Like, what was his opinion on it? Like, is it even a possibility that something like that could survive in the area? So a specialist. So that's what I try to find. Not only like eyewitnesses, but people who have knowledge of whatever I need to know about that area. I like to interview like the mayor of a place, because they can tell me just about like what is it about your town? What's your town like to the average person? Has nothing to do with the weirdness or anything like that. I just want
No,
to.
but it gives you an
Right.
idea of the town or the
Yeah.
city. Yeah, like
Yeah,
a good way
exactly.
out. And then
Yeah.
when you start thinking about it, of why this thing is around that town or city, and then yeah, that's where it's like, why is it there? Then and I think what you're trying to get at too is like you're looking at the maybe the scientific term of like of the subject in general. Really, as
Right.
you're yeah,
Exactly. That's 100% right. So you want to present it, or I want to present it in a way, like I said before, where you're not just like trying to spoon feed people. Oh, this place has this spirit and it's a fact, and this is exactly what happens. No, you got to present all sides of the story. I'm not like an encyclopedia by any means. I need other people's knowledge and help with these stories to make them come alive, and get people to understand them as best as they can, as best as I can, if that makes
right.
sense.
No, that totally makes sense. Yeah, because I mean, the more you know, the more you're gonna know anyway. Like when I started my haunted Vermont, almost like as of this recording, this is August 5th. Um, I started this on August 26th of 2012, so almost 13 years.
Awesome.
And one of my old quotes that I actually just started to use again because I feel like it it the state that I'm in had changed a lot. It's weird, but I used to always say together we can learn because I mean back in the day everybody was curious about the subject, and that's why I wanted to dive into it more because I figured the more people that talk about their experiences or this and that, the more we can learn, and then together maybe we could like not really solve it, but we would have a better understanding of what the hell is going on in our state per se. But I just feel like for some weird reason, and I'll die saying this, is Vermont has become a stubborn state in some aspects of that type of subject because it's hard for me to go out and find people that want to talk because last time I tried to bring somebody on that was related to this person or whatever, they thought I would just like a phony or something. Like they didn't reach back out to me or anything. I was trying to tell them like, yeah, I'm the real deal. Like I'm not trying to fabricate your story in a way. I want to present it in the way that they would want it to be presented.
Yeah, I think social media has been a blessing and a curse at the same time. It's
Totally.
probably has something to do with it. Makes people a little bit jaded at times. You know,
Oh
so
yeah,
I
for
can see
sure.
that. Yeah, I can see that happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely social media. Definitely not what it was like even 6 years ago. So I
No,
mean,
no.
so I guess Joe is what we can I guess talk about is so as far as like going out into the field and stuff like that, um, from now, well, first off, how long have you even been doing this? Has it been like 5 years, 6 years?
Like going out in the field officially for documentaries since like 2019. So I mean, in the scheme of things, I'm a newbie. still learning, still getting my feet wet into all of this stuff. I firmly believe in the boots on the ground approach to it. Like, I wouldn't make a documentary strictly from staying at home and interviewing people. Like, I think you have to kind of immerse yourself into the environment to kind of get a good grasp of what's going on. So I like that boots on the
Totally.
ground approach. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So I guess what I'm trying to figure out for that question too is, so as long as you've been doing this, 6 years then, um, from the start to now, I guess, do you feel like you're starting to learn more about your area now, like better when it comes to these stories now versus what you started with, like knowledge wise, 6 years ago?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, prior to this, it was more like just reading stories here and there. Like, but to be honest with you, I didn't realize how rich the state was in paranormal stories, in high strangeness stories. Like, I mean, I would see stuff in, I don't know, maybe newspapers every once in a while. I remember as a kid hearing about Momo, the
Momo.
Missouri Monster. I never heard about Big Muddy though, which is across, in my state. Um, since doing this, I learned that Southern Illinois has had a multitude of UFO incidents involving police, and just multiple eyewitnesses. I wasn't aware of that. I wasn't really aware of the rich history of paranormal in well, I focus on Southern Illinois because I'm in Central Illinois, and Southern Illinois is cool, like environment wise. Uh, but yeah, 100%. And it's funny, like the stories, like my friends aren't really into it like I'm into it. I mean, they enjoy stories and things like that. And like I have coworkers who say, "Oh yeah, I love that subject," but then I'll say, "Okay, what do you think about the Piasa bird in Alton?" And they're like, "What are you talking about?" It's amazing. And I was the same way. It's like it's amazing how people think I'm like my friends think I'm an expert on the subject, and I'm not even close. The only reason they think I'm an expert is because
Just how
of
much you know.
how much I know, which I don't think like by any means I'm any type of authority figure. It's just I guess when you work in this stuff, you come across stories and you remember things. You know what I mean? So like, it's amazing how many people don't know a lot about the Mothman story still,
That
which
is
to
odd. Yeah.
which to me you would think. I think for those of us who love this type of subject, everybody, like if you love this subject, about Mothman, and probably a
Yeah,
good
that's
chunk of,
probably gonna be like one of the top, like whatever searches,
yeah,
man.
yeah,
Like it's you. Yeah.
yeah. And but it's funny how, and then so people think I'm an expert on Mothman, like my friends do, just because I read the story or watched a movie on it. You know what I'm saying. So it's
Oh
it's
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
kind of funny to me how I'm looked at that way among my peers, my friends, and things like that.
No, I totally get it because
Yeah,
I had people that reach out to me because they kind of nicknamed me the ghost guy, which
yeah,
is weird. So like at work, I used to have coworkers, and I didn't know he worked there, but by the time I got hired to go there to start a job there, people came to me and were just like, "Oh, so you're the ghost guy that he was talking about?" And
yeah,
I'm like, "How do you know that?" And he's like, "Oh,
right.
so and so told me because he works here." And I'm like, "Really?" So
Yeah, I'm the Bigfoot guy at work.
you're the Bigfoot guy?
I'm the Bigfoot guy. Yeah, I've had people come out of nowhere and said, "Are you the Bigfoot guy?" And I'm like, "I guess."
Yes. I mean, that's a cool way, though, I guess, if you wanted to look at it like that, like to get uh, eyewitnesses if they wanted
For
to share with
sure.
you.
For
Is that
sure.
actually how some of the eyewitnesses found you, or how you reached out to some?
So I'm trying to think of documentary work. Well, a lot of eyewitnesses that I get a hold of are through social media. Like a lot of times when I'm doing a documentary, well,
Mm-hmm.
every time I've made like a Facebook page and they'll leave a comment on something and I'll look at the comment and see if it coincides with what I'm trying to do. I'll reach out to them. Heck, more than half the people, eyewitnesses I've contacted, I've gotten through Facebook. Um, just Unfortunately, a lot of times after the documentary comes out, then I'll get a ton more people who know more about it. It's like, why didn't you reach out before? Gosh darn it, but
Well,
yeah,
that's another way to go back to it, and
yeah,
maybe
do a follow up or
yeah, do a follow up. Yeah,
yeah,
perfect. Yeah, that's always perfect, man. Because like in a way that can actually work out with what I was talking about earlier or a little bit ago when I was saying, I went to this place and out of the 6 times, only 2 times something weird has happened. It's almost like you could almost do it that way, where it's like, oh, hey, here's here's the creature from Big Muddy Part 2 or something. You
right,
know,
yeah,
um like the beast strikes again or something. I
yeah,
don't know,
yeah,
but I mean, if you do more updates like that, I think you could almost turn it into a as we were just mentioning you were mentioning Small Town Monsters, they have series. I mean, you
yeah.
could maybe just take Big Muddy and just turn it into like your own little series. Have you
Well,
even thought about that?
I mean, in a way, like I not necessarily like I have a YouTube channel. So my YouTube, I do something a little bit different. My passion is filmmaking, but on YouTube, my niche is boots on the ground stuff. So, like in the case of let's say Grand Tower, I've come across more eyewitnesses to the event after the documentary come out that have agreed to, yeah, we'll interview. So I think for something like that, I'll go interview these people and, basically do another documentary, but put it on YouTube, not necessarily release it on streaming services like my other stuff. But, and I started the YouTube to help build my brand, just build awareness to what I'm doing because that's just a different audience. And I kind of like that boots on the ground approach that we talked about, and I think like the YouTube stuff is uh, a better media to do that with, as opposed to I don't like being in my own films. I like I'll do recreations, uncredited, type of stuff in my films, but I'm not really 100% comfortable with being on camera, I should
I
say.
totally feel that.
You know, yeah,
I totally feel that. I mean, how to, well, I guess I could say it now. I mean, like Small Town Monsters. So they came to my state to film for the the Benetton Triangle, the High Strangeness, or something like that,
yeah.
or From Beyond the Benetton Triangle and High Strangeness, or whatever. I might have mixed up some words, but anyway, yeah, it was so cool to see that, and I was just like, oh, finally, they haven't done anything as far as I was aware, like for something like that type of documentary presentation since like On the Trail of Champ, which was 2018, I think, is what
Yeah.
Alex
hmm Alex
said.
Petikoff, yeah.
Yeah. And anyway, so I was just like, oh, that's so cool. And then next thing I know, I'm like getting this random Facebook message, and it's a header from Small Town Monsters.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I got recommended to contact you about if you were interested to talk about the Benetton Triangle. Wait, what? So, I mean, hopefully I don't sound like an idiot on there. So, yeah. Yeah,
No, that's super cool, man.
Yeah, so I mean, it was cool, but I mean, I definitely felt a little underprepared for the
Yeah,
question that they had. But other than that, I thought it was a cool little experience for sure.
yeah, and yeah, I don't like how should I put it? Like I don't know how I would feel about being interviewed in that type of situation. Like not that I'm embarrassed or anything, but it's when the shoe's on the other foot, I don't know how I would
Yep.
react. Like I'm very comfortable interviewing people. Um
Yeah, me too.
especially yeah, I mean, and I've known you for a little bit, quote unquote, so it's
Yeah,
comfortable talking to you per se, but um
I think
it's
it
always
helped because we're both in the same interest of
yeah,
it. So
yeah,
and
yeah.
that's what I mean by social media too. Not to cut you off,
No,
Joe,
you're fine.
but I definitely feel like when you meet other people that like the same subject as you, it really does make it easier. And that's why I was making that comment before, where I could share something that maybe you never thought of. You could share something to me, and I never thought of. And it's like it's like we're exchanging information to make us rethink of stuff, and then we're going back and going like, oh, what if we connected this to that? Like, we really start to really think of other things that we may have not have thought of before. So that's why I like talking with other people.
I agree with that 100%. Like I'm working with a friend of mine. So there's a guy in the Elizabeth Reed documentary. His name's Jason Dickerson, and I've been teaming up with him lately to do boots on the ground research. We do Bigfoot stuff, and he's got a paranormal background, and he
Oh,
likes
very cool.
cryptid stuff. So he's more into, well, I shouldn't say more into, but he has, at least he is open to the paranormal aspect of cryptids, where I'm more reluctant to go that route. But I think that's a good contrast to have, right? Because I'm again, I'm not an expert. What makes my thoughts more relevant than someone else's? So it's good to have that other person to bounce off ideas off
Yeah.
of and knowledge and what have you. For sure.
Yeah, I would like when I was talking to Alex, I kind of brought up, we were talking about when we're in a subject for too long, we start to think like every noise and every crack and every this or
Yes.
whatever is paranormal. So we have to step back. So I had to do that for a couple years. I went on like a 2 year hiatus or whatever long it was, and then I came back to basically redo it all over again. But after that time off, it felt nice. But at the same time, like you really start to look at how weird uh I guess I'll just say, for lack of term in here, is like the different subject. And what I mean by that is like you got the paranormal side, you got the cryptids, and you got the UFO stuff like that. But if you really start to break it down and look at each particular subject, I'll just say, like the weirdest part is the cryptid side, right? Especially Bigfoot, because everybody wants to do a hoax. Everybody wants to
Yeah.
claim this is the costume. Everybody wants to say we're the ones with the body.
Right.
Like they want to get it done and over with, basically. Whereas paranormal, it's more chill, if that makes any sense. Like
Yeah.
it's so weird like that, especially with UFOs. I guess. I mean, you know what? I should probably ask you this. So this would be interesting too. But like for me, real quick, if you were to talk to me, Joe, about my belief between ghost and spirit, basically, and cryptid, I would flat out tell you I have no problem talking about ghost and spirit, because I believe that, because I've had my own experiences, especially conducting my own investigations when I had a team and caught an evidence and this and that. But if you were to ask me about cryptids, that's a whole different story to me. I can't. I'm more on the skeptical side of the cryptid still, and that's still fine. And I'm saying that to like the listener, because having some sort of skepticism is a healthy way to look at it all, anyway. versus, thinking, oh my God, this is a Bigfoot when it's, a bear track. But then when you're somebody that's not even a hunter and you're looking at it going, well, is this a bear track or is this something else? And, when it comes to like Alex and I, again, we were talking about this, like Paul Bartholomew here, who lived in New York, not that far from me, he had some Bigfoot casting, but when he was showing me them, I was like, okay, so what am I looking at? Because I just don't have that trained eye. So I guess like what I want to ask you, Joe, is for you being, the boots on the ground and stuff from doing this, how far would you say, like, your trained eyes have come from, I guess, the beginning to now? Like, are you able to pick out the difference between something that may be animal to something like, like, I guess, Bigfoot, or if you have
Well,
found tracks?
I'm a skeptic, so I'm not a true believer. So, but like, where's my knowledge? That's kind of like the purpose of being boots on the ground, is because I figured I'm interviewing all these people that are telling me their experiences. So I kind of want to see if what it's like experiencing what they're experiencing, if it's even true, or like if it is true, like if they are hearing something, like what are they actually hearing. So I kind of want to hear, or I want to experience that myself. So where's my knowledge with that? It's still low. Like I'm like trying to learn about tracking and different animal signs, and like try to study the different vocalizations that are just natural to the forest, or even just the sounds the forest makes, like tree creaking and things like that, right? Which I've experienced. Yeah, I found several potential tracks and trackways. Definitely trackways, but I'm not saying they're Bigfoot. There was some type of trackway, whether it was human or animal or bipedal or quadruped. I found a ton of those. It's like trying to teach myself, okay, what am I looking at here?
Yep.
Why is this grass matted down here? Okay, a deer could have been down here. The thing is, I kind of like what you were saying earlier, though. When you're Bigfooting, it's very difficult not to have Bigfoot on the brain per se. Like,
Right.
oh, this is, but like, even I've had several experiences where I'm like, man, this feels legit. Where afterwards, like, I don't have this big excitement about me because everything can be explained. Like,
Yep.
even the vocalizations I've heard in the woods can be explained. It could have been a human,
That's right.
unless you actually see it, you don't know what it is. So I try to be as skeptical as possible. I believe that Bigfoot, the possibility of it is real. I lean towards it being real. Is it real in my area is another question. I mean, I got a ton of eyewitnesses. I believe what they're telling me. I believe they believe what they're telling me. But that doesn't mean I believe how they interpret it. Right? You can't just. I think a lot of, especially on YouTube, I don't know if they believe what they're saying to the audience, or they're just trying to say things to make the audience want to watch them more.
I think that's
Tree
what it is.
tree structures, tree structures. I don't who who came up with the idea that Bigfoot does tree structures. That's just and it's okay if you believe that. It's okay if you think it's a possibility, but don't say it as a fact. Don't say Bigfoot leaves X tree structures, like a big X. That's a Bigfoot doing that. Don't tell me that. You don't know that. Now, is it okay to note it and say, I'm seeing this repeating pattern. I wonder if Bigfoot's doing it, right? Unless you see a Bigfoot doing it, don't say it's as fact. Same thing with like, paranormal activity or ufology. I think you should definitely not look at it like a fact until it's it's determined as fact. Does that make sense? Like, so I don't know what's my knowledge as a tracker. It's gone up. I'm a newbie, man. I'm a newbie.
Well, you would probably know more than I would, man. Is what I'm trying to get at. Like it sounds like you are learning what to look for though, which is always good because for somebody
Yeah.
like me, I still wouldn't know, what the hell I'm looking at. Like Paul Bartholomew was showing me, like, oh yeah, this is where in the captain the supposed what is it, the heel
Mid tarsal
breaker?
break. Mid
Yes,
tarsal
mid
break.
partial
Yeah.
break.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. And yeah, and I'm just I'm still looking at it going like what? Like because it's
Well,
just my eyes aren't trained to it. That's all.
right. I mean, exactly. So, like with footprints, does it look like if it looks like a human footprint, it's a human. If it looks more like a bear track, then it's an
It's a bear
animal.
track. Yeah.
Oh, it's a bear track. Yeah, yeah. So you can tell the difference between a human and a bear for sure. And then you got to figure out, are you just looking at a bear or a Bigfoot? And we don't know if we're looking at a Bigfoot. We can hypothesize about it, theorize about it. Until you see a Bigfoot leave a track, it's not a Bigfoot. But it's
Yep.
good to note. It's good to note and collect that data. A lot, I've had comments from a person before on YouTube saying, "Stop looking for footprints. Go to we've already experienced this. You need to go to the next level." Which I don't even know what the next level is. Like, what do they expect? But I
Maybe
think
handprint or piece of fur, maybe.
no, they want to see the Bigfoot on video.
Oh yeah, that too.
I mean, data
Don't
is
we all,
data.
man?
You got
Yeah,
to
yeah.
collect data. I don't care what it is. Data is important. So that's what I'm doing, trying to collect data for myself, I guess.
Well, okay, so you just brought up a cool point, Joe. So, like with your data, then have you noticed anything with the data that you collected for your area that if and I'll put it as like if there is a Bigfoot family around you, I'll just say for lack of wording here, would you say you have found a specific part in your data where yes there seems to be if there is a family it's showing up around this time to this time frame.
Um, I would say put it this way, that I've been in the forest. And by the way, I grew up in the forest my whole life. I just never paid attention to see if there's Bigfoot in the forest, right? But I've grown up in the forest. I'm still a city slicker, but I grew up in the forest. But like I've experienced things in the forest that other people have experienced that, and they attribute it to Bigfoot, such as wood knocks, whoops, howls, potential. I found something that looked like a trackway with a pretty good footprint in it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the as far as data, not specific to like times a year yet. I don't have enough data on like specific times a year or anything like that. But what I do have like data on is, am I experiencing things that other people have experienced? Yes. Now, what is it? Now, what's causing it? That's and well, that's what I'm still trying to learn. So people say, okay, I'm getting wood knocks. So am I. I heard it. Is what's causing it? A lot of times it's just natural. Trees make trees make knocking sounds. Weather conditions would does stuff to the wood where they'll swell, and it's like an old house. An old house creaks, right? Well, what's an old house made of? Wood, right? So that's what wood does. So yeah, but like I'll get responses. What I think is a response to something I do in the environment, I'll get a response back. I'm not going to claim it's Bigfoot, but I'm experiencing things other people experience. That's the type of data I'm currently collecting. As far as like times a year and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know yet because like I have this one place I call my hotspot, one of my hotspots where I thought I had some responses, and then for like 2 months, nothing. And then all of a sudden I go out there and it's back. Like I get responses again. So does that mean something was traveling through the area, or does that mean 9 out of the 10 times I visited, I didn't get response, but the one time I did, like kind of like you were talking about going back to an area multiple times. You know,
Right.
you don't get response every time. That's how life works. The world of the weird is on its own time, not our
That's right.
time. So
That's right.
yeah.
Yeah. I can actually shine in on another example to that phrase of going back multiple times and you're gonna get a different result each time. So last year, I got invited by my friends in a paranormal group that I've known since 2014, but they've been around since 2004. Anyway, we went to investigate Wilson Castle, which is here in Proctor, Vermont. Anyway, gorgeous place. I love it. That night when I went, oh my God, man, like the activity was amazing. And for those listening, I do have a playlist of like 13 videos of that night. I basically edited it as if you were there with us, basically investigating with us, basically. It's how I wanted to present it, which I did have some videos where nothing was going on in the video, but I wanted to show that to say, not, you know, like what you see on a TV or anywhere, like, you know, it's going to be lying to you anyway because these guys have been there for so many hours anyway, but they just got to piece it together in that, you know, 1 hour time frame or whatever.
Right.
But
Yeah.
anyway, what I'm trying to get at is, so anyway, they went back, or I went back 2 months later last year. That was the most quietest night ever. It was really weird. There was like a couple things, but it wasn't as loud as it was the first time I was there. So the team went back this year around the same time frame as last year when I went with them, and they said it was actually pretty quiet again. So that's what I'm trying to, you know, Joe and I here for the listener. This is what we're trying to tell you. Even though we're going back there, or somebody's going back there, you're never gonna know what's gonna happen.
No, absolutely not. And I think that's why you need to do long-term research. I have different areas I go throughout my area in central Illinois and a little bit beyond for my YouTube stuff. But I keep going back to a handful of the same areas a lot of time to see if there's anything there. Like there's this one spot I go to that's got BFRO reports, and I haven't experienced anything there. Like, and then I go to these other places where there's no reports, and that's where I get a lot more activity. Well, what I would say is some type of something's going on that I can't explain. I'll put it that way. So, as far as activity, so it's just weird how that works. I think a lot of times, I mean, if you think about stories throughout history, like your famous stories, like no one was out there looking for the Mothman when
No.
the Mothman found them, or like
Yep.
Indrid Cold, supposedly an alien. No, no one was looking for him. He showed up, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
how often do you hear stories about researchers out there that have experienced something? I mean, it's happened, but it's more rare. You know what I mean? Where
Right.
like a major event. I mean, I'm not talking about smaller occurrences, but like major events that, like all the legendary stories we know, none of them were, well, basically most of 99% of them weren't from a researcher doing, like, trying to find it. It happens to normal people for the most part, and not when they're looking. So
Oh, gee.
what's the odds of me finding something looking? It's probably pretty slim, you
Right.
know. But I'm going to do it. I think it's fun.
Right. Now, you kind of brought up a good point. too, and I want to pick your brain a little bit. So you said you kind of experienced these wood knocks and stuff. So have you tried doing any testing of yourself? And what I mean by that is like, have you taken like a pretty good solid stick to smack a tree? Have you taken like a baseball bat? I think is another one that people use and smack a tree. And then what's the other one? I heard something like a axe handle. I think is what people use.
Oh yeah,
But
so absolutely. I have a wood knocker. I use it's a tire knocker that semi truck drivers use to test the air pressure. It's like
nice,
like it's about a 2 foot stick, weighted stick. That's what I carry, yeah, and that's most of the time when I get what I think is a response is because I'm doing that. Yeah, but is it because I'm paying attention after I do it that I'll hear a knock as opposed to just walking in the woods and maybe there's a knock that I'm not hearing? Like a natural tree knock, like the wood swelling and contracting and expanding, causing a knocking sound, right? Like
yeah,
that would
like
be
the
it.
kraken or something.
Yeah,
I forget.
or like a tree swaying in the wind and hitting another tree, making a
Yep.
noise, right? Is it? Is it? I'm not hearing that, and I only hear it because I'm purposely trying to hear it by doing a wood
Hmm.
knock myself. Of course, I've only had wood knocks happen one out of every 10 times, type of thing. Maybe I've heard them, but it's not like every time you do it, you're going to hear it back
Right.
by any means. But yeah, I do that all the time. And same with I do whoops, which when you do this stuff, like I feel like a total idiot, like because I mean, the only reason we do whoops is because we've seen it done on TV. That's how
Right.
we learned it. And even though the people in Finding Bigfoot, really they're legit people. They were just on a TV show where they have to be entertainers, but they're the ones that kind of come up with that concept. That's why
Right.
I do.
But
But I
I
feel
was
like
gonna
an idiot, you know.
right, but at least with Finding Bigfoot, what they have talked about years later is like they were fighting with the company there.
Producers, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, and they basically made it so that they were able to do it their way, which was nice because you don't
Yes,
hear about that much anymore. To make it more, what the term reality TV.
yes.
Um, so another example that I just want to point out of what you actually said is like you were saying you've been to areas where like the BFRO have gone and there seems to be nothing, and then you
Yeah.
go to places where there's no report and then there's something. Do you think that's because they're either a changing the location to protect the location, or do you think like um, besides, we kind of were talking about them traveling, but I guess what I'm trying to figure out is, do you feel like where you're going, where there is more activity, is it because there's more foot traffic of actual human?
Yeah, I mean that's a good possibility. I don't think if there is a if there are Sasquatch, I refer to them as wood apes. I like that term. Wood apes in
Wood ape,
Illinois.
wild man, yeah.
They're not staying in the same area. They'd be transient. If they weren't transient, you would see them. I mean, we don't have we have like the Shawnee National Forest, 300,000 acres of forest, which really connects to the Ozarks and can it goes in. Just because there's a border doesn't mean the forest ends. So it goes
Oh,
into
okay.
Indiana, Tennessee, Kentucky. I mean, that whole area is just huge forest. But like, there's reports of in like central Illinois, northern Illinois, eastern, western. There's no way it's the creatures in these areas just staying put. If it's real and it's true, it's got to be transient, like moving through the area, because there's nowhere to hide. It's like, unless you believe in the paranormal aspect of it, which I don't. Um, but yeah, so you can't have a sighting without people, though. right?
What do you mean
So
by that, Joe? Real quick, what you don't believe in the paranormal aspect? Do you mean Bigfoot like just disappearing in a portal? Like, what do you mean?
yeah, exactly. Like people believe it has cloaking ability or interdimensional ability. That's the woo side, the paranormal side, and I'm not. I've said this before. I have just as much evidence of the physical side as you do the paranormal side, which is nothing. None of us have full blown evidence on it. So my idea, just because I believe it, doesn't mean I'm right. I
Right,
respect other people's opinion on it, but I just don't follow that side of it. Like to me, that would be scary if that's actually true. But you know what's funny? I believe in the paranormal more than I do cryptids because I've had paranormal experiences. I just don't like messing with it too much. I just don't like. I don't believe like as far as like a Bigfoot is in the paranormal, but I believe something like if the Mothman actually happened, that's a paranormal thing. I know that's a weird concept, but I think one-off creatures like Mothman or Enfield Horror and uh, the the Night Stalkers, those
oh
that
yeah,
famous case, those are one-offs, and if those are legit, that's a paranormal thing. But
gotcha.
I don't think Bigfoot is a paranormal thing,
You
in
don't
my
think so?
opinion.
Right, right,
I don't,
right,
right,
right.
but
No,
what?
I
Yeah,
totally get you.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
totally get you. Yeah, no, I'm the same. It sounds like you and I have a lot in common then, because we believe in that paranormal. We're just more skeptical about the cryptid side. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, for sure.
and yeah, because I look at that the same way, man. Like speaking of UFO, I don't even think I sent it to you, but I'll send it after this. But like the other night, my friend's father captured this mysterious light in the air, and he sent it to me, of course, an hour after it had been there, and
Yeah,
he shot the video. But I went to the street because it was like a 9 minute walk for me, and I went and I took some pictures, and I went back to the video to try to see what I could find or anything. Man, I don't want to say it's a UFO or UAP, man. I'm trying to go down the list of what it could be, but man, dude, like it's getting to the point where what else could it be? You know what I mean?
right. No, that is awesome. And so what you're doing, what we call ambulance chasing, is where you hear a report and then you go to it. And in the Bigfoot world, that was always a big thing, and it always resulted in nothing. Like by the time you get there, it's gone, man. So, uh,
Right,
uh,
but in this
but you
case,
still do
though,
it. I would still do it if someone told me they had a Bigfoot report the night before. I would go to that. I've done it. I've gone to the spot and found nothing. But
oh really? There was no signs at all. Like there wasn't like any. I don't know. What do people usually say? There's like pushed down grass, or there's
right.
something broken, something. There wasn't anything like that.
I couldn't find the exact area. I just found the he basically told me the rough location. He's the guy told me he's had multiple experiences there. I go to that area and I call it getting skunked, where nothing. And
Oh, gotcha.
I've been back there 3 times and it's been nothing.
Hmm.
So, but that doesn't mean there's nothing there. Just like
Right,
but
right. Totally,
but
totally.
yeah, it's like so back in the 70s and 80s, they used to do that all the time, where they'd collect reports and then immediately try to go to the area, and
And
usually
nothing
and
or
nothing,
something.
and UFO in ufology as well, so uh,
Totally.
sometimes there is something, but I haven't experienced that yet.
Yeah, to help wrap it up a little bit, Joe, the last thing I kind of want to bring up, and you actually mentioned it at the very beginning of this, but I didn't think about bringing it up until now. But throughout the time of you getting told like these encounters, I'll just say, from these people, and nowadays you kind of hear it a little bit like the phantom lights or spook lights. Somehow they're connected to Bigfoot, or maybe connected, I should say. But
Yeah.
like they talk about seeing the weird lights sometimes before or even after this, like
Yeah.
something has happened with a Bigfoot. Have you had anybody mention that they've seen these mysterious lights?
Yeah, in the Grand Tower case, a few people brought that up, and um, that's why I kind of went with the high strangeness angle with that one because, but there's, remember I said there's always an explanation, an opposite explanation for it. In that Grand Tower area, it's along the New Madrid fault line. And there's speculation that a fault line creates energy, which creates anomalous lights. Like, so are they are they trying to connect the two things? Like if they think they're experiencing Bigfoot and you also see a light, are they trying to connect it just because it's in the same area? I mean, most Bigfoot sightings don't have lights, but then again, there are reports of it. That's where you're kind of getting into that what I call the paranormal aspect that I'm not really a believer of. But at the same time, you get reports of it. So what do you do with that? You got to at least take note of it. You should take note of it. It might not correlate at all, but uh, as a fan of that of the world of the weird, I love stories like that. I think that's awesome. But like as a skeptic, you think that doesn't make any sense, So,
Well, I'll
but
make it even more weirder, I guess. But from these reports, man, oh man, maybe this might be a cool project for you for Illinois. But I only bring this up because I thought about it because a publisher that I collab with, sort of like they just released a new book called New York Fairy. And sometimes fairies are even known to almost show up like these mysterious lights. So, have you ever looked into any type of lore with these
yeah.
fairies or goblins?
Oh yeah.
Something, what are they called? Goblin, God, what is it called? Goblin Universe? Goblin something.
Right. Yeah. World of the Fae,
Yes.
FAE, Fae, forest spirits, forest folk. Yeah, I looked into it. It's one of those subjects where as like a skeptic, and I don't want to say grounded, but really like if you're getting into that, you're getting into some really weird stuff. But that's lore that goes back centuries. Like people have believed in that for centuries. The world of the unknown, and what's more unknown than the deep forest, and where weird
Right.
things happen. So, oh yeah, I've looked into it. It's fascinating. Like, is there natural explanations for that? Like, does is does geography play a part in energy? Does it play a part in messing with the human mind? Like, just let's say minerals in the ground in certain areas, does that affect the human brain? I think it does. Like, I have a theory that it does. I have a theory that like quartz, for example, like people talk about how massive amounts of quartz, there's paranormal activity around that. Is it real paranormal activity, or is it the some type of energy being produced that we don't know about that can mess with your head and make you hallucinate? Or maybe it's legit and releasing interdimensional portal. Right? Who knows? But yeah, I do think about that stuff, and like, does the natural world have things in it? Yes, it certainly does. But what is it that we can't explain? Sure, yeah. It's a
Perfect.
fascinating it's a big rabbit hole though, isn't it?
I was just about to say that, man. I was just when you start looking into anything, man. Sometimes you just go down a rabbit hole, and then that's it, man.
Yeah,
But
that's it. You're bye.
yeah, well, I mean, I would maybe we can save that for a next chat with you, Joe. But for now, I think to just wrap it up. So, I guess for people like me, like because I know you've done Kickstarter for your other ones. I kind of mentioned that a few times, but
Yeah.
I'm just more curious for people like that have not seen or want to maybe even get like your DVDs or anything. I know you have a YouTube channel, Facebook,
Yeah.
stuff like that. But like, if somebody like me, like, what to say for the example here, like, let's say I want to get your other films that you had kickstarted there.
Yeah.
Is there a way for me to purchase like the DVDs?
For sure. I don't really have a shop right now, unfortunately. I'm developing that. If anybody wants to see like some of the documentaries I've done, you can go to my YouTube channel. You can see them. Are with ads. Most of them, except for the new one. So that's Red Room Films, Legends and Monsters. If you look up Redroom Creative Media, it'll take you to the same YouTube. But like, if you look up my name on Tubi and Amazon, Joseph Tury, Tury, you'll see the different movies that are streaming on those services. So like Prime, Tubi. There's a lot of other smaller channels, Roku channels that you can catch my documentaries on. If you want to purchase anything, which is rare. A lot of people that purchase DVDs do so at conferences and things like that. But uh, you can always get a hold of me on Facebook, and I'd be happy to give you one at a very low discounted price. Just pay for the shipping pretty much. But yeah, but check out, I mean, definitely you could check out my documentaries on YouTube. There's ads in them, of course, but they're free.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, that's perfect, man. Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll drop your YouTube channel URL in the description below of this
Appreciate that.
episode for people can just click on it and subscribe that way because every subscription helps basically.
You know it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. No, I gotta try to create more content for even my channel, but it gets like I was saying before, like Vermont, the stubborn state, so it gets hard. But yeah. So anyway, Joe, no, I do appreciate your time. I just would love to help, a fellow local filmmaker guy that is trying to share stories from a different state to, be brought into a light here so people can check out as well and check out different areas that they can't maybe visually see or physically visit themselves.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really do appreciate the invite. It does mean a lot. And likewise, I think independents should all support each other and help each other out. But I honestly, I don't expect things in return, but I really do appreciate you.
No problem, man. And for everybody else listening, I guess we can say 3 different things in here. Keep your eyes open for the sky because you just never know if you're going to see mysterious lights floating by. Keep your eyes out on the woods and your ears because you just never know if you hear mysterious sound or just see something creeping along. Until next time, folks.